I just like digging up stuff from people. Being a manager as well, there were some investigations that I handled personally. And on that basis, I guess I stepped on the wrong toes.
Obviously, there was a hitman after you. Please take us through it, everything from the beginning.
I had expected that ESCOM would provide me with the necessary protection, but they failed me dismally.
Hence how we became friends. I mean,
Hence, we
that's
became
we
friends.
became
Yes.
friends.
Yeah, there were major mental challenges. I think at a point I was also going through depression, but I wasn't aware. People are mostly used to men being in the industry. If someone says there's an investigation against you, you don't expect a Dorothy with red lipstick to be showing up.
Yes. What's some of the challenges that you face?
Okay, the challenges that most forensic investigators face is the cooperation from SAPS.
And take us through one of your experiences up in Africa.
Okay, I'm not sure the client will appreciate it, but yeah.
No names, no names, no
No
names, no
names.
names.
For me, it has now dawned on me that it is a dangerous field that I'm in, and I just need to exercise extra caution when I'm executing my work.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of LB Security. Today I'm going to be sitting here and interviewing Dorothy. Dorothy, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dorothy Mmushi, and yeah, it's a pleasure being on your show. I'm a forensic specialist. I specialize in white collar crime investigations. I investigate fraud, corruption, maladministration, or any crime that relates to the financial aspect of things.
Awesome. So, with Dorothy, how we met, I got a very interesting phone call from a mutual friend of ours, and it was a crazy phone call. All he said was, Bud, I've got this lady that you need to chat to, and she's got a little bit of trouble. And obviously, since then, we've just become really awesome mates. Um, Dorothy, would you like to run us through that? Like, just how did that start? What happened? Obviously, there was a hitman after you. Please take us through it, everything from the beginning.
Okay, so what actually happened is I was employed by ESCOM as a fixed term contractor. I was leading a team of forensic consultants. They were termed as senior forensic advisors at ESCOM, and we were investigating fraud, corruption, and maladministration within the state owned entity. So, being a manager as well, there were some investigations that I handled personally. And on that basis, I guess I stepped on the wrong toes. And that ended up to me being threatened. I received a couple of death threats while still in the employ of the entity until the individuals decided to, in actual fact, try and carry out the actual threats.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's how we got to
Yes,
to me.
yes, yes. That's initially how we
Yes,
met. That's initially how
yes.
we met. Crazy world, eh? I mean, from an investigation point of view, just from, or rather from a woman's point of view, just take us through some of the challenges that you do face, just being in the industry.
Okay. The industry is not necessarily very kind to females, in that when you're conducting investigations, chances are most of the time your suspect is male.
Sure.
And me being a female, having to interview a male suspect, most of the time it would be people who are quite in influential positions. This actually reminds me of an investigation I did back in the days of someone who was an MD of an organization.
Wow.
And at that time, I was still a young female in the
Yes.
industry. And during this interview, the gentleman was quite arrogant and the manner in which he handled me, I feel it was because I was female.
Mm,
You know, people are mostly used to men being in the industry. If someone
sure,
says there's an investigation against you,
sure.
you don't expect a Dorothy with red lipstick to be showing up.
Yes.
You're expecting a guy,
Yeah.
old guy, who will be there
Yes.
to interrogate you. So being female, it is a bit more difficult because you need to work 10 times harder to prove yourself
Sure.
in that you do know what you're doing and you're good at what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think the $1 million question is, what made you decide to go into this?
I think it's a calling, number one. And the reason I'd say that is I'm passionate about investigations. To be in the industry, you need to have an inquisitive mind. You need to be open minded and be easy to adapt and to learn various things.
Sure.
For example, if you are conducting an investigation in an engineering environment, you first need to understand those engineering concepts before
Sure.
you can pick up where the irregularity transpired. So you need to be someone who's able to be quick thinking, someone who's up to date with politics, your social networks, technology. So yeah, it's an exciting field, but it definitely needs someone who's got that mind. And I think that's what pushed me in that
Sure.
direction. And
Sure.
over and above that, I just like digging up stuff from people. Yeah.
Certainly very passionate about what you do. Definitely very, very passionate about what
Yes.
you do. Um, take us through some of the competence and the compliance, aspect of things, like in terms of compliance. To be an investigation officer, what do you need to go into investigations?
Okay. To be a forensic investigator, you would need a professional background, like in terms of your basic education. A lot of people in the industry would either have a policing background, they'd either have an auditing background or a law background. And over and above that, you'd need to be a registered as a professional.
Sure.
I'm a certified fraud examiner through the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. There is also another body that has recently been established, which is the ICFP. And you having that professional qualification enables you to conduct forensic investigations. Because other than that, there's a very fine line between private investigations and forensic investigations, and that's what separates the two. We, as forensic investigators, have that professional qualification which enables us to conduct forensic
Sure.
investigations. Whereas with your private investigations, you would then have to be registered with PCERA. I think the PCERA Act is quite clear on that
Okay.
aspect. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Um, so for someone that's procuring this service for the first time, how would you guide them through the process? What to look out for? Because obviously, maybe someone or an organization needs um, this type of service, but they've never had to procure for it before. What would you guide them through? What would you say they need to do? What's step one? Other than just going onto Google, Googling, and then they're getting this person in and they're like, okay, cool, this person sounds like they can do the job. But in actual fact, they can't. What's the process that someone needs to follow? What are some of the boxes that a person needs to be able to tick, or a company that says they can do the service?
Okay. Mostly for government companies that offer forensic consulting services are on the central supply database. Now, to be on that database, there's a lot of compliance checklists that would have to be checked at. For example, they'd look if you are registered with CPRO, they'll check if you are tax compliant, they'll check if you've got certain years of experience. You'd put that all in there. But over and above that, it's important to see the qualifications of the resources that will be doing the work. So there's nothing wrong with you saying, okay, you're going to be assisting me with a forensic investigation. Please show me what your qualifications are. And that is what government does when they procure our services. They would want to know the team that's going to be executing this work, what are their qualifications. And another major requirement is for them to have the professional qualification, which is from the ACFE or from ICFP. It is a requirement. And for you to have that qualification, you need to go through a whole exam
Yes.
process. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just handed out to you. You work very hard for it. Yeah.
Awesome. And for someone who's thinking to get into this industry, what's a great place to start?
You need to run your race. I know there's been a lot of people who would go and study, and thereafter they'd be like, no, I want to open up my own forensic consultancy. I would advise against that. You need to run your race in terms of working in a professional organization under people who are more knowledgeable on how to conduct investigations, because you'd need to get yourself more au fait with the methodologies of
Sure.
investigations, the best practices, how to prepare a forensic report, because that's quite key. Because that report is what would encompass what your findings
Yeah.
in the investigation were about. And with that report, that's what would guide you to do your affidavit if you need to refer the matter for criminal prosecution.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Dorothy, something that I certainly want to touch on is just your overall experience on recovering from an active hit. Just take us through that, and if you could maybe just try and unpack it for us, where it's you take us through everything, like you've now just realized that this is the reality, this is what you're dealing with. What goes through your mind?
I've got a bit of mixed emotions about that entire incident. When you are a forensic investigator, you always believe that you are protected by the entity which you work under.
Sure.
But that's not always the case. So you sometimes have to protect yourself against those that you are working for, as well as those that you are meant to be investigating. So that whole experience, yeah, it left me traumatized in that I'd never had an experience of having a active hit against me, or
Yeah.
having felt as threatened as I was when the hit took place.
Sure.
I think, as mentioned in the media, I was contacted by the hitman. And I think the reason he had contacted me is because he had failed. He had numerous failed attempts at trying to assassinate me. And based on that, he then mentioned that because he couldn't assassinate
Sure.
me, he was trying to now extort money from me.
Yeah.
So hence I ended up having to put this out there to ask the police for assistance, and to ask ESCOM, who was at the time my employer, for protection. And the saddest thing is, at the time, with me having been doing the work for ESCOM, I had expected that ESCOM would provide me with the necessary protection,
Sure.
but they failed me dismally.
Hence how we became friends. Eh? I mean,
Hence, we
that's
became
we
friends.
became
Yes.
friends. But I must say, I mean, you just you acted like a legend through it all. Honestly, you responded like really really well. But of course, there was a mental aspect of it. You go to bed at night, you by yourself, and you're looking at this, and you can almost like ask yourself, like, gee was like, what am I supposed to do? How do I get through this? Some of the health challenges that you faced, some of the mental health challenges that you faced. Walk us through that.
Yeah, there were major mental challenges. I think at a point I was also going through depression, but I wasn't aware. Uh, it was based on the fact that you are now anxious, the fact that you know that someone wants you dead.
Sure.
It changes your complete lifestyle. So, meaning, uh, before I could get into my car and go somewhere, I need to think twice. Do I
Yeah.
really need to go there? So, my social life also took a different turn.
Sure.
Also, in terms of friends, some people don't also want to be seen
Associated.
with you or associated with you, in case the hitman is following, and then they might also be exposed to the risk of being assassinated. So it was a complete mind shift. It was traumatizing. I had to psych myself up and say, listen, Dorothy, you don't need to be looking over your shoulder all the time. You need to move forward with your life. So it was really traumatic.
And you've been very good with the advice that's been given to you.
Yes.
You've been applying a lot of these things really well, and you obviously still carrying those habits with you up until today. If you could give advice to someone that's busy going through that, or someone that just came through that, what would you say to them? What would be the biggest thing to on a daily basis to focus on to get past the situation?
It's to be vigilant and to try and keep safe, uh, especially with investigators that are working for state owned entities or for government, or even someone who's in the police. It's
Yeah.
always important to be security conscious of your
Sure.
surroundings.
Sure.
Always look if you're driving, if there's someone following you. Change your patterns of where you go, how you go, what time you get out of your house. And I think all of those patterns, because I was applying that,
Mm.
that's why it was quite difficult for the hitman to
Sure.
be able to find me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The Dreamstream studio in Randburg is a full-service studio on Bromfisher Drive. It's perfectly suited for podcast, music recordings, and general video recordings. Backed up by an experienced editing and production team means you can walk in, record, and walk out knowing that everything will get done as you require. Our mobile gear ensures we can cover your video and live streaming needs on location too. We got the cameras, the lights, and the action to make you and your brand shine. Contact us now, studio@dreamstream.co.za, and we'll make it happen. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
Certainly not being predictable. Never
Yes.
being in the same place twice at the same time.
Yes.
I think predictability is a certain way for someone of that profession to get to you. Because if you're predictable, I mean, it's well, every day at 8:15, this person leaves their gate.
That's
Guess
true.
what?
Then you'll find them
Just be
waiting
there
for
at
you.
8:15 tomorrow morning. Yeah, awesome, man. Um, Dorothy, what does it actually take, to conduct an investigation as a female? Like you're going into this situation and there's this man, definitely not intimidated by the fact that you're a female. How do you start?
You start with gathering your evidence. You check your the situation as well in terms of the matter that you're looking into. Um, Also, bearing in mind that your safety as a person, look at all the elements around the matter that you're looking at, and also never ever take it for granted that your complainant could actually be part and parcel of whatever crime you're investigating.
Sure.
Hence, I said initially, when you're conducting investigations, you need to be someone who's open minded, who thinks on their toes.
Sure.
Because if you don't do that, you might find yourself in a situation that is wanting. So, obviously, with being female as well, sometimes people take it for granted that females are weaker investigators. And I'm very much against that
Sure.
mindset because I've led a lot of females who were in the industry and they have done quite well in uncovering or closing off cases. A lot of high profile cases in the country as well have been cracked by female investigators. Now, the fact that we are investigating men, as I said, they will
Yeah.
always look down on it. And the fact that they've got their guard down
Sure.
because they're under the assumption that a female cannot conduct investigations in a better way or in a similar way as our male counterparts. That gives us an advantage because they're not expecting the outcome that you would come up with.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if there's a private organization that's busy watching this, and you can help them through how to make the decision on hiring someone, and also there's obviously the discussion of rates. That's always a big thing. It's like, oh no, but you're too expensive. If you can kind of like give an insight as to why you charge what you charge.
I think what people need to bear in mind is that forensic investigations is a professional service. It's being rendered by people who are highly qualified. It's rendered by people that have met certain compliance requirements,
Sure.
and that comes with money. The same service that you'd expect from an attorney or from anyone who renders professional services is the same service that you'd get from someone in the forensic field. And obviously, quality costs. I mean, if you're going to get an investigator that has 20 years of experience, it's not going to be the same as having an investigator with 2 years of experience. And also, depending on the nature of the investigation. If you want someone to look at a high profile matter, do expect to pay a hefty price for it.
What are some of the overall challenges that you face as an investigator, not particularly from a woman's point of view, just in general? At what point do you stumble over into some challenges where you may end up needing SAPS, law enforcement, to come on board because at that point you're not able to then cross either that jurisdiction, or what's some of the challenges that you face?
Okay, the challenges that most forensic investigators face is the cooperation from SAPS. You must remember that we would conduct an investigation, gather all the evidence, conduct a forensic report, and then you would compile your A1 statement for the registering of the criminal case. In most instances, we get challenges from our counterparts within SAPS. Some of them, it's either they don't understand how you got to the conclusion that you got to, or some of them, it's more about power play, you know. So I do wish that our counterparts in the SAPS can understand that we are there to enhance the work that they're doing. If we work together, we're all working for the benefit of ridding the streets of bad people. So we are expecting them to cooperate with us and to receive us with warm hands, you know. So sometimes they would even avoid registering a criminal case. They'll instead right there try and pull you down and say, no, this should not be a criminal matter. This is a civil matter.
Wow.
You know. So we forever are trying our level best to work with the SAPS, but we do at times find people who are not understanding the work that we do and who are not willing to cooperate with us. And it's not all of them. I mean, you do find, especially people in the Hawks or in your commercial crimes unit, who are quite warm and welcoming to us and are willing to cooperate with us.
And there's still a lot of passionate people, man. There's a lot of passionate people that's really there. I've got the privilege of engaging with a lot of them on a regular basis, and there's guys that genuinely wants to make a difference, that wants to fight crime. So all hope is not lost.
That's true.
There's a couple of really passionate guys that wakes up every day and they just want to make a massive difference. But that's not always the case, unfortunately. Dorothy, if there's anything that you would like to take us through on your journey, like something that really sticks out for you, what would it be?
Yeah, what sticks out on my journey was the experience that I had at ESCOM in terms of having an assassination attempt against my life.
Sure.
It was a rude awakening. I think for the 20 years that I've been in the industry, I'd always taken for granted that people will just make threats and nothing will come of it. I think this experience has shown me that the work that we do is in fact dangerous, and we need to always be conscious and be cautious as well of how you conduct your investigations. And also, if you do get a client who you're doing investigations for, get a proper brief from them, and also make allowance for the possibilities of a civil claim against you for doing the investigation.
Sure.
Because people have different ways of retaliating when you're investigating them. Others will either, yes, try and assassinate you. Others will try and take you on civilly.
Sure.
So I think for me, it has now dawned on me that it is a dangerous field that I'm in, and I just need to exercise extra caution when I'm executing my work.
Sure.
Yeah, but
Crazy,
that hasn't put me off. I'm still passionate about investigations.
Definitely.
I'm still willing to deal with fraudsters and people who defraud, who commit corruption. So I'm still passionate about it. It has not put me off.
Awesome, man. And do you have any borders in terms of where you don't go, or do you just work wherever the job takes you?
I go wherever the job takes me, and I've also been very privileged to be working in Africa as well.
Awesome.
I've enjoyed those cross-border investigations because it gives you more insight into what happens in other countries. And sitting here, I can say it's actually easier to conduct a forensic investigation in South Africa as opposed to some of these countries in SADC, for example.
Sure.
Because we've got a better system of being able to track and trace people. Our structures and regulations enable investigations to take place.
Awesome, and take us through one of your experiences up in Africa.
Okay, I'm not sure the client will appreciate it, but yeah.
No names.
No names. The last one that we did was up in Botswana, And yeah, that went down well. It was in relation to fraud as well, and falsification of qualifications. And yeah, we were able to crack that. And yeah, client was happy. Yeah, feather
Awesome.
in our
Job well
cap.
done.
Job well done.
Awesome. 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 Dorothy, is there anything that you'd like to unpack for us about just the industry within a whole? There's obviously your side, which is the investigation side, and then you have to work with private security as well. Is there any sort of challenges? Is there any sort of linkages that you think stands out for you, or challenges that you face with such?
We haven't experienced much challenges with working with other uh, industries, such as the security industry, for example. They're always willing to come on board. I mean, we've done investigations related to cable theft as well. We roped in the security industry, and the guys were there. They were helpful. You know, when you're doing your troker type of approach of investigations, it always works best because you've got a diverse skill set all in one on that project, so you're bound to succeed. So what I'd like to say is, if we learn as industry in SA to work together, share information with your guys from intelligence, your guys from security industry, the police as well, that's a better way of fighting crime. And I also would say the same for your more violent type of crimes. I focus mainly on financial crime, but I feel the same approach could work for your violent crimes, such as your heists, as well as your robberies. So let's rely on each other as law enforcement to share information and to work together, and we'll make SA a better place and rid it of criminals.
No, definitely. Have you ever been on any extortion type cases?
Yes, I have.
Take us through it.
You know, I think with extortion has grown in SA. I can give you an example of a matter that I did where my report ended up with the SIU. That very same investigation ended up in the newspapers. And what happened is a group of people in jail, prisoners, they got hold of that article and they saw the names of the people that were investigated, and they then tried to go and extort money from those suspects.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how bad it has become in SA. Extortion is something that's quite rife. And I think even anyone out there who ever gets someone trying to extort money from them, don't fall for it. Rather report it to law enforcement and have them investigated. In SA, I think with information has now been turned into money. Information is money.
Definitely.
It takes an individual to know what you did for them to now try and make money out of that situation. So people need to always be vigilant. Also, not share too much information unnecessarily.
Kidnappings? Been involved with it?
Kidnappings, no, I haven't looked at kidnappings because that's another forte. It's dangerous crime, so we try and avoid investigating those. We stick to the money, we follow the money, we get the money back. Yeah.
Okay.
Recoveries, we love getting the money back for you. Yeah, that's our strong point.
Awesome. Awesome. And how can someone get a hold of you?
We've got a website. My company, Seekers Finders Forensic Services. So I do offer forensic consulting services. Yeah, and just holler at us.
What does a typical consulting cost with you?
Our rates vary. I'm a director in the company. My rate is very high, but I've also got consultants that come on board on a part-time basis. So I get them on board as well to assist with other matters, and their rates are quite affordable, depending obviously on the nature of the matter that needs to be investigated.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone wants to get a hold of you, have you got Instagram?
Yes, I've got Instagram. It's Kidodo, K_Dodo. Or you can catch me on Facebook, or you can Google Seekers Finders Forensic Services.
Awesome. Website?
We've got a website as well, www.seekersfindersforensics.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Dorothy, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your time, firstly, and just the fact that you were willing to come up here and to speak so openly about, I mean, you've spoken about it before, but the fact that you were able to come here and just speak about your experience with us and to just share some knowledge. Again, I think this podcast for me is really about how do we help people make the correct decisions when procuring for these various different types of services. And there's obviously this competence and compliance, as I always say. And hopefully this will help people to make a sound decision when procuring for such a service. And absolutely, Dorothy is amazing. We've also been journeying together for quite a bit, and it's been interesting. Very passionate person. So I would recommend any person that is looking for a forensic investigator to reach out to you.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Awesome.
Much
Dorothy, thank you so much for your
appreciated.
time. Guys, and as always, keep safe out there.